Hello, class. Welcome to this week's filmmaking lesson. Before we get started the filmmaking lesson, I want to talk about the streaming service for Disney Plus's I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 Years and Maxed Out My Level Anime on Saturday, April 10th. So there were going to be voices over. There's going to be voices over I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 Years and I've been in Maxed Out My Level Anime. The voices are Azusa Aizawa, played by Bugs Bunny, Laika, played by Nickel Parker, Falfa, played by Daffy Duck, Shasha, played by Porky Pig, Halkara, played by Tweety Bird, Beelzebub, played by Sylvester the Cat, Fred Tort, played by Yosemite Sam, Roselli, played by Casper the Friendly Ghost, Provato Picora Aries, played by Wile E. Coyote, Vela, played by Roadrunner, Venya, played by Marvin the Martian, Weasley is played by Scooby-Doo, Enno was played by Shaggy Rogers, Pondelli was played by Velma Dinkley, Kuko was played by Daphne Blake, Yufufu was played by Felix the Cat, Syndro is played by Woody Woodpecker, Miss Genty was played by SpongeBob, Coralina was played by Squidward, Tentacles, Goodly Goodness was played by Patrick Star, Moo was played by Cindy Cheeks, and the goddess Ninten was played by Plankton. Alright. So first, we will be doing home video releases. On today, we will be doing Once Upon a Snowman 2020 film by Disney Plus. Here's a plot in this film. During Elsa's song Let It Go, Olaf the Snowman is brought to life before he can do anything. However, she releases her cape, which flies and knocks him down the mountainside until it crashes into a tree. Not knowing who he is or why he is alive, he decides to find an identity for himself. He comes upon wandering Oaken's trading post in Sauna, where Kristoff can audibly be heard singing "Reindeers are better than people" from the barn, and gets flattened by the front door by Anna, who exits, not noticing him, and carrying a bag of carrots, which she will eventually give to Kristoff and Sven as payment. Olaf enters the post and meets Oaken, who does not seem all that surprised by the appearance of a talking snowman. Olaf asks for a nose, possibly a carrot, for his face, but Oaken explains that he sold the last batch and decides to put him out by trying a variety of other objects. One of the objects is a stereoscope that features images of summer. Olaf is merely taken by it and wants to experience it before settling on a sausage for his nose. As Olaf happily leaves with his new nose, a pack of wolves suddenly appear and begin to chase him through the snowy tundra, during which Anna and Kristoff can be heard arguing with each other over the concept of love. Olaf passes by them, again unnoticed, which gets the wolves to suddenly shift their attention to them. Olaf continues to slide on witnesses Anna, Kristoff, and Sven, making a leap across the gorge while ditching their sleigh. Olaf makes it to the bottom, where he spots one of the carrots that gets dropped, but it gets crushed by a sleigh. Olaf's sausage nose breaks, which saddens him. Upon seeing one of the wolves whimpering pitifully at his nose, he gives it to him, believing that he needs it more than him. The wolf happily licks and snuggles with him before leaving. Olaf comments that it felt like a warm hug, which suddenly causes him to remember Anna and Elsa's time playing together as children. Finally realizing who he is, he comments, "I'm Olaf and I like warm hugs." During the credits, Olaf is seen coming across Anna, Kristoff, and Sven, who will eventually give him his iconic carrot nose. Alright. On tomorrow, we will be doing the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad 1949 film. Here's the segments in this film. As the film's animated segments are based on literary works, they are both introduced in live-action scenes and set in the library as a framing device. The first segment is introduced and narrated by Basil Rathbone, and the second segment is introduced and narrated by Bing Crosby. Decca Records issued an album called Ichabod, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, featuring Bing Crosby in 1949 to tie in with the release of the film. The Wind in the Willows. The story is set in around London, England, United Kingdom, between June 10, 1909 and January 1st, 1908. June 10, 1908 and January 1st, 1909. The protagonist, J. Thaddeus Toad, ESQ, is introduced as an incurable adventurer who never counted the cost. As the story's one disturbing element, although he is the wealthy proprietor of the Toad Hall estate, Toad's adventures and positive mania for fads have brought him to the brink of bankruptcy. As a last resort, Toad's friend Angus MacBadger volunteers as Toad's big bookkeeper to help Toad keep his estate, which is a source of pride in the community. One summer day, MacBadger asks Toad's friends Ratty, a water rat, and Molly, a mole, to persuade Toad to give up his latest mania of reckless driving about the countryside in a horse and canary yellow gypsy cart, which could accumulate a great deal of financial liability and damaged property. Ratty and Molly confront Toad, but are unable to change his mind. Toad tries to escape from them, but then sees a motor car for the first time and becomes entranced by the new machine, having been taken over by motor mania. In an attempt to cure Toad's new mania, Ratty and Molly put Toad under house arrest. However, Toad escapes and is later arrested and charged with car theft. At his trial, Toad represents himself and calls his horse Cyril Proudbottom as his first witness. Cyril testifies that the car, which Toad was accused of stealing, had already been stolen by a gang of weasels. Toad had entered a tavern where the car was parked and offered to buy the car from the weasel. However, since Toad had no money, he instead offered to trade Toad Hall for the car. The prosecutor and judge show disbelief toward the statement, so Toad then calls the bartender, Mr. Winkle, as a witness to the agreement. However, when told by Toad to explain that what actually happened, during which he believes he will be pronounced innocent, proceeding to dress fashionably and attempting to walk out the door of the courthouse, Winky falsely testifies that Toad had tried to sell him the stolen car. Toad is found guilty on the spot and sentenced to 20 years in the Tower of London. As the months pass by, Toad's friends make every effort to appeal his case, but to no avail. On Christmas Eve, Toad appears to have an epiphany about his careless ways, but once Cyril visits Toad in disgust, as his grandmother and helps him escape by giving him a disguise of his own. All of that flies out the window. Toad quickly runs into a railway station and hijacks a 240 train engine and drives out of the station, heading toward the riverbank without getting caught by the police and another train engine, though seeming to drown due to his ball and chain dragging him down to the bottom of the river, having thrown himself into it in an attempt to give the police the slip. He then arrives at Retty's house. However, while Molly is happy to see him again, Retty is insistent that Toad return to prison and pay his debt to society. Out of the fact, Toad ignored their warnings to stop his carelessness, especially when they hear what they think is the police at the door. Instead, it is Mac Badger who enters, informing them that Winky is the leader of the Weasel Gang, and that Toad, indeed, traded Toad Hall for their stolen motorcar. Winky himself is in possession of the deed. Ratty then apologizes to Toad for thinking ill of him, knowing that the deed, bearing both Toad and Winky's signatures, would prove Toad's innocence. The four friends sneak into Toad Hall using a secret passage near the river by boat, though Toad nearly loses up the plan by almost shooting the guard outside on the bridge. The four manage to sneak in, finding the Weasels and Winky, who they see has the deed on his person. Drunk and passed out, they attempt to lower Molly on a makeshift rope to swipe it. Unfortunately, Toad's actions from before that had caused more damage than originally thought as the guard investigates, finds a passageway, and wakes up the Weasels and Winky. A grueling chase around the estate ensues to take the document, during which a number of antics happen, including Molly found folding the deed into a paper airplane, and then Toad producing numerous ones to confuse Winky and the Weasels, and the quick switch around with a hidden wall panel. Though the four manage to escape with their lives, they appear not get the deed. However, Toad proudly produces said deed from his pocket. The film then ends on New Year's Day, with Toad exonerated and regaining his house, while it is implied that Winky and the Weasels have been arrested and imprisoned. As Mac Badger, Ratty, and Molly celebrate the new year with a toast to Toad, who they believe has completely reformed. Toad and Cyril recklessly fly past on the 1903 Wright Flyer. Toad has not truly reformed and has developed a mania for airplanes instead. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Although the film introduces the story as Ichabod Crane, later individual releases retained the story's original title as a short story. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow was originally published as a sketchbook with other stories, not as a single volume as depicted in the film. In October 1790, 14 years after the American Revolution and founding the United States, Ichabod Crane, a lanky and superstitious yet charming dandy, arrives in Sleepy Hollow, New York, a small village outside Tarrytown that is renowned for its ghostly hauntings to be the town's new schoolmaster. Despite his odd appearance, and rather effeminate mannerism, Ichabod soon wins the hearts of the village's women and forms good friendships with his students, though the latter is mainly in order to get invitations to suppers at said students' homes, which he would not be able to afford on his meager salary. Brom Bones, the roguish town hero, does his best to bully and play pranks on Ichabod, such as interrupting his singing lessons with the town ladies' choir by having a dog howl in the middle of Ichabod singing a series of notes, making him seem like Ichabod himself produced it. However, the schoolmaster is very good at ignoring these taunts and continues to interact with the townspeople. One day at the town picnic, Ichabod meets and falls in love with Katrina Van Tassel, the beautiful daughter of the wealthy farmer Baltus Van Tassel, and Walt Brom is equally infatuated with. Despite being obsessed with Katrina's beauty, Ichabod mainly desires to take her family's money for himself. Brom, who has never been challenged like this, proceeds and compete with the schoolmaster, but Ichabod wins Katrina over at every opportunity and unintentionally makes a fool of Brom in the process. Unbeknownst to both men, Katrina is only using Ichabod to make Brom jealous and force him to try harder for her affections. The two love rivals are invited to the Van Tassel Halloween party since Ichabod and Brom had borrowed a horse from a farmer. Brom attempts to get Ichabod to dance with a plump woman who is a wild and impetuous dancer instead of Katrina, and later attempts to have him fall through the cellar door, but both attempts comically backfire. While both men dine, Brom catches Ichabod accidentally knocking the salt shaker over nervously tossing salt over his left shoulder. Discovering Ichabod's weakness is superstition, he decides to sing the tale of the legendary Headless Horseman in order to scare him. The Headless Horseman supposedly travels the woods on Halloween each year, searching for a living head to replace the one he had lost. And the only way to escape to the ghost is to cross the covered bridge. Everyone else, including Katrina, finds the song amusing, while Ichabod starts to fear for his life. Riding home from the party through the very woods, from the song on his old plow horse, a terrified Ichabod becomes paranoid of every sound he hears in the dark woods. While traveling through the old cemetery, Ichabod believes he hears the sound of a horse galloping toward him. The motions his possessed horse to move, but discovers the sound is being made by nearby cattails. Bumping on a log, he and his horse begin to laugh hysterically in amusement at being scared by something so small until their laughter is cut short by the appearance of the real Headless Horseman, wielding a sword and riding what appears to be Brom's black horse. When being chased through the dark forest, Ichabod, remembering Brom's advice, rides on his terrified horse and races across the covered bridge to stop the ghost's pursuit. The horseman stops in Ichabod's tracks, rises up in his stirrups, and throws his flaming head, revealed to be a jack-o'-lantern, right at the terrified schoolmaster. Ichabod just has time to scream, and tries to dodge the jack-o'-lantern by ducking, but is too late to hunch down when it hits him on the head or in the face with a great crash, presumably knocking him out with a tremendous explosion, the tumbling him headlong from his horse into the dust. The next morning, Ichabod's hat is found at the bridge next to the shattered jack-o'-lantern, but Ichabod himself is nowhere to be found. Some time later, Brom marries Katrina, and rumors begin to spread that Ichabod is still alive and is married to a wealthy widow in a distant county and is living with her and many children who all look like him. However, the superstitious people of Sleepy Hollow refuse to believe that rumors about the schoolmaster and insist that he has been spirited away by the Headless Horseman. Alright, on Wednesday, we will be doing Christopher Robin 2018 film. Here's the plot in this film. Christopher Robin is leaving for boarding school, so his friends from the 100 Acre Wood, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Piglet, Eeyore, Kinga, Roo, Owl and Rabbit throw him a goodbye party. Christopher comforts Pooh and tells him that he will never forget him. Christopher goes to boarding school, where he is reprimanded for drawing pictures of Pooh in class. His experiences at boarding school and the death of his father force him to mature quickly, and he forgets all about the 100-acre wood and his friends there. He grows up, meets and marries architect Evelyn, he has a daughter named Madeline. He serves in the British Army during the World War II. After the war, he works as director of efficiency at Winslow Luggages. He neglects his family due to his demanding job and plans on sending Madeline to boarding school, just as he was sent to boarding school with the company hitting hard times. Christopher's superior Giles, Winslow Jr., tells him to decrease expenditures by 20%, largely by choosing which employees to lay off, and to present his plan on Monday. This causes Christopher to miss joining his family at their countryside cottage in Sussex for a summer-ending weekend. When Pooh awakens the next morning and is unable to find his friends, he decides to travel through the door through which Christopher Robin is known to emerge and finds himself in London. He reunites with Christopher, who is shocked to see Pooh, but takes him back to his London home. After a night and morning of chaos, Christopher escorts Pooh back to Sussex on the next train. After sneaking past Christopher's cottage, the two enter the 100-acre wood. Christopher becomes exasperated by Pooh's absent-mindedness and fear of heffalumps and woozles. Pooh, in an attempt to return Christopher's compass to him, drifts to Christopher's briefcase and his papers spill onto the ground. Christopher, enraged, yells at Pooh, declaring he is not a child anymore. Before they are separated in the fog, he falls into a heffalump trap, which is flooded by rainfall, soaking him and his belongings. Christopher discovers Eeyore and Piglet, who laid him to the others, hiding in the log out of fear of a heffalump, revealed to be the squeaking of Rusty Weathercock from Owl's house after the wind made it fall from its tree while they were having tea. Unable to persuade his friends that he is truly Christopher Robin, he pretends to defeat the heffalump to convince them. Having vanquished the heffalump, Christopher finally convinces his friends that he is Christopher Robin, and they joyfully greet him. When they reunite with Pooh, Christopher apologizes for getting upset earlier and tells him how lost he feels. Pooh forgives him, reminding Christopher that they will have found each other, and comforts him with a hug. The next morning, Christopher rushes from the 100-acre wood to make his presentation. After Tigger gives him his briefcase on the way, he encounters his family, but much to Madeline's disappointment, he leaves for London. Pooh realizes that Tigger removed Christopher's paperwork when drying his briefcase, so Pooh, Tigger, Piglet, and Eeyore decide to return it. They meet Madeline, who recognizes them from her father's drawings. Madeline joins them, wanting to dissuade her father about boarding school, and they board a train to London. Evelyn follows after discovering a note Madeline left at his presentation. Christopher discovers that his briefcase contains items from the wood that Tigger had given him, including Eeyore's tail. Eveline arrives and Christopher joins her to search for Madeline. Madeline's group stow away in crates, but Tigger, Eeyore, and Piglet are accidentally thrown out, and they encounter Christopher and Evelyn. In the process, Pooh and Madeline arrive near the Winslow building and reunite with Christopher and the others, but Madeline accidentally trips on the stairs and loses all but one of the papers, upsetting her and Pooh. And Christopher assures Madeline of her importance to him and tells her that he will not send her to boarding school, using the one paper Madeline saved. Christopher improvises a new plan involving reducing the prices of luggage, selling their luggage to ordinary people to increase demand, and giving employees paid leave. Winslow Jr. dismisses the idea, but Winslow Sr. warns to it and agrees to the plan. Winslow Jr. is humiliated as Christopher points out that he contributed nothing to the plan, having been out golfing all weekend. Christopher, along with Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore, and Piglet, finally takes his family into the 100-acre wood to meet with the rest of his friends. As everyone relaxes at the picnic, Pooh and Christopher Robin both share a tender moment together. In the mid-credit scene, the employees of Winslow's are seen having fun at the beach while Richard M. Sherman performs busy doing nothing on a piano. Pooh, Tigger, Piglet, and Eeyore are relaxing on beach chairs with Eeyore saying, "Thank you for noticing me." Alright. On Thursday, we will be doing Fantasia 1940 film. Here's a program in this film. Fantasia opens with the live-action scenes with members of an orchestra gathering against a blue background and tuning their instruments in half light, half shadow. Master of Ceremonies, James Taylor, or Come and Go, I should say, enters the stage, also in half shadow, and introduces the program. Toccata and Fugue in D minor by Johann Sebastian Bach. Live-action shots of an orchestra illuminated in blue and gold, backed by superimposed shadows fade into abstract patterns. Animated lines, shapes, and cloud formations reflect the sound of rhythm of the music. The Nutcracker Suite by Tchaikovsky. Selections from the ballet Suite underscore scenes depicting the changing of the seasons from summer to autumn to winter. A variety of dances are presented with fairies, fish, flowers, mushrooms, and leaves, including Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy, Chinese dance, Arabian dance, Russian dance, Dance of the Flutes, and Waltz of the Flowers. The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas, based on Goethe's 1797 poem Der Zauberlehrling. Mickey Mouse, the young apprentice of the sorcerer, and Sid, attempts some of his master's magic tricks, but does not know how to control them. Rite of Spring by Igor Stravinsky, a visual history of the Earth's beginnings as depicted to selected sections of the ballet score. The sequence progresses from the planet's formation to the first living creatures, followed by the rain and extinction to the dinosaurs. Intermission, meet the soundtrack. The orchestra of musicians depart and the Fantasia title card is revealed. After the intermission, there is a brief jam session of jazz music led by a clarinetist. As the orchestra members return, then a humorous, stylized demonstration of how sound is rendered on the film is shown. An animated soundtrack character, initially a straight white line, changes into different shapes and colors based on the sounds played. The Pastoral Symphony by Ludwig van Beethoven, a mythical Greco-Roman world of colorful centaurs and centaurettes, cubits, fauns, and other figures from classical mythology, is portrayed to Beethoven's music. A gathering for a festival to honor Bacchus, the god of wine, is interrupted by Zeus, who creates a storm and directs Vulcan to forge lightning bolts for him to throw at the attendees. Dance of the Hours by El Melchior Ponchielli, a comic ballet in 4 sections. Madame Opanova and her ostriches mourning, and Hyacinth Hippo and her servants. Afternoon, Elephantians and her bubble-blowing elephant troupe. Evening, and Ben Alligator and his troupe of alligators. Night, the finale finds all of the characters dancing together until their palace collapses. Night on Balmont by Modest Mussorgsky and Ave Maria by Franz Schubert. At midnight, the devil Chernobog awakes and summons evil spirits and restless souls from their graves to Ball Mountain. The spirits dance and fly through the air until driven back by the sound of an angelus bell. As night fades into dawn, a chorus is heard singing Ave Maria, as a line of robed monks is depicted walking the lighted torches through the forest and into the ruins of the cathedral. Alright, on Friday, we will be doing Fantasia 2000 film. Here's our program in this film. The film begins with the sound of an orchestra tuning in James Taylor's introduction from Fantasia. Panels showing various segments from Fantasia fly in outer space and form the set and stage for an orchestra. Musicians take their seats and tune up the animators, and animators draw at their desks before James Levine approaches the conductor's podium and signals the beginning of the first piece, Symphony No. 5 by Ludwig van Beethoven. Abstract patterns and shapes that resembles butterflies and various colorful shades. Tints and hues explore a world of light and darkness whilst being pursued by a swarm of black bats. The world is ultimately conquered by light, introduced by surviving archival recordings by James Taylor. Hides of Rome by Torino Respighi. A family of humpback whales are able to fly. The calf is separated from his parents and becomes trapped in the iceberg eventually. He finds his way out with his mother's help. The family join a larger pod of whales who fly and frolic through the clouds to emerge into outer space, introduced by Ichigo Koji and Chika Nojima. Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin. Set in New York City in the early 1930s and designed in the style of I. Hirschfield's known caricatures of the time, the story follows four individuals who wish for a better life. Duke is a construction worker who dreams of becoming a jazz drummer. Joe is a down and on his luck unemployed man who wishes he could get a job. Rachel is a little girl who wants to spend time with her busy parents instead of being shuttled around by her governess. And John is a harried, rich husband who longs for a simpler, more fun life. The segment ends with all four getting their wish, though their stories interact with each other without any of them knowing. Introduced by Chizuru Shima and Shizuka Kinoshita with pianist. Piano Concerto No. 2, Allegro Opus 102 by Dmitry Shostakovich. Based on a fairy tale, The Steadfast Tin Soldier by Hans Christian Andersen, a broken toy soldier with one leg falls in love with a toy ballerina and protects her from an evil Jack-in-the-Box. Unlike the original story, this version has a happy ending. Introduced by Yoko Sasaki, featuring pianist Yoko Sasaki. What's his name? Rifio Matsumoto. The Carnival of the Animals. Le Carnaval des Animaux Benelli by Camille Saint-Saëns. A flock of flamingos tries to force a slapstick member who enjoys playing with a yo-yo to engage in the flock's duel routines. Introduced by Iritaki and Akane Sato. The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas. Based on a 1797 poem, Der Firstgöttling by Goethe. The segment is the only one featured in both Fantasia and Fantasia 2000. It tells the story of Mickey Mouse, an apprentice of sorcerer, Yen-Sid, who attempts some of his master's magic tricks before knowing how to control them. Introduced by Nobuya Nakajima and Nushio Ota. Previously from the first film. Pomp and Circumstances, Marches 1, 2, 3, and 4 by Edward Elgar. Based on the story of Noah's Ark from the Book of Genesis, Donald Duck is Noah's assistant and Daisy Duck is Donald's wife. Donald is given the task of gathering the animals to the Ark and loses, and reunites with Daisy in the process. Introduced by Mikasaki, featuring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Firebird Suite, 1919 version by Igor Stravinsky. A sprite is awoken by her companion, an elk, and accidentally wakes a fairy spirit of destruction in a nearby volcano who destroys the forest and seemingly the sprite. The sprite survives and the elk encourages her to restore the forest into its normal state, introduced by Fumi Kimura. Alright, that's all the home video releases we got. So, second, we will be doing TV series over home video releases. On today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we will be doing on Pointed episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, that's all the TV series over home video releases we got. So third, we will be doing Emma Monkey Pictures and Roman Cowell Productions and Duncan Cheese Company shorts. It is about Tom and Jerry, the Million Dollar Cat, 1944. Do you know what the $1 Million Cat means? He means Tom inherits $1 million on one condition: he must avoid causing harm to any animal, which Jerry uses to his advantage. Alright, that's all the shorts we got. So fourth, we will be doing Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus. The story continues when Mei goes to Hancock Crescent in Orleans, Ontario, Canada, and reunites with her father, with Beatrice's father, and Beatrice reluctantly gives a key to Hargorales, who locks Beatrice's father in a cell of the dungeon basement, and convinces the others to go back to hometown where father used to go back to hometown where Beatrice used to usually stay there in their Toronto hometown. And Beatrice reveals that Hargorales was really here at Mimi's car, and manages to get away from Hargorales, but Hargorales was joined in by magical girls to stay with Beatrice and Mimi and the magical girls. Alright, that's all I got for today. Let's do some work now. Oh, by the way, class, I just wanted to tell you, the class, that I already made yesterday for a filmmaking lesson, like home video releases, and I already made a short, I already made TV series over home video releases, and I already made Samsung Galaxy S21 Plus. So let's do some work right now. Hello, guys. Hello. 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 Oh gosh, you're all here. Anyway, so yeah, we should go to Walt Disney World again, and then we should go to Disney's Hollywood Studios to go to we need to go to Echo Lake to go to Star Tours. The adventures continue today, and then we're gonna buy a hotel at Disney's Port Orleans Resort, Riverside. Okay. Okay. Good. Good. Good.